In the next couple minutes, I'm going to convince you that RELL Seas will 100% take over Roblox on its release, and I will make sure you're hyped for this game once again. So, for my first reason I know this game is going to take over, it's because there is a crazy good reputation behind these developers. And let me tell you something about the developers behind RELL Seas. These guys aren't some random kids making their first game. The RELL Games team are legends who already conquered a part of Roblox once before, and they're about to do it again. These guys have over 10 years of game development experience, and their background is absolutely insane. Their previous masterpiece, Shindo Life, wasn't just another anime game, it became one of the highest rated Roblox anime games of all time with a 93% satisfaction score. During its peak, Shindo Life was pulling close to 2 million active players, but here's the crazy part. Even after being practically abandoned for years, that game still maintains around 4,000 to 8,000 active players daily. And when you see a quote-unquote dead game is still competing with most developers' biggest successes, you know you're dealing with something special. This means we're not just gambling on some random developers for a good game. Instead, we're watching proven masters prepare to unleash their next creation. But their legendary past is just the beginning of why this game will dominate. Because reason number 2 is they have an army of fans ready to strike. And this is what separates RELL Seas from every other upcoming Roblox game. They already have millions of people ready to absolutely flood their servers the second that play button goes live. Because most games launch into the void, hoping for someone to notice them. But RELL Seas is launching with a freaking army. Their YouTube channel alone has 2 million subscribers. And for context, that's 1/6 of the size of Fortnite's official channel. And for a Roblox company, those numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. But that's not even the crazy part. 177,000 TikTok followers, 88,000 on Instagram, 900,000 on Discord, and nearly 1 million on Twitter. And when you combine all their social media followings, we're talking about a potential day one player base that most games never see in their entire lifetime. This isn't just hype anymore, this is a guaranteed explosion of players that might crash some servers and probably break records. But the size of their fanbase isn't even the most insane part, because reason number 3 is that this game is showing hype that no other game has ever shown before. What we're witnessing with RELL Seas, guys, has never happened in Roblox history. The level of pre-release anticipation has reached heights that make other launches look like nothing. We're talking about a hype machine that's been building momentum for over 3 years. Over 100 content creators across every platform are actively promoting this game. In fact, just look at SwiftDFG with 50,000 subscribers, Slykage approaching 200,000, Revolver with 130,000, Sage with 120,000, all of them pushing massive waves of excitement to their audiences about RELL Seas. Every trailer that the RELL Games company releases pulls hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of views. People are already planning their crews, discussing strategies, and building communities around a game they've never even played. This level of hype is usually reserved for major console releases like GTA 6, not a Roblox game. But RELL Seas has shattered that barrier, and the results are going to be explosive. However, hype means nothing if the game can't handle that pressure, which brings me to reason number 4, being that this game is available everywhere, unlike the competition. Because here is where most promising Roblox games make their fatal mistake. They build something incredible, then lock out 70% of their potential audience by making it PC only. RELL Seas learned from every failure that came before them. Take GPO as the perfect example of wasted potential. Despite being incredible, it stayed PC exclusive, leading to thousands of players constantly begging for console and mobile support. the developers ignore these cries. Meanwhile, Blox Fruits, with essentially the same exact concept, averages close to 300,000 daily players. What's the main difference? Blox Fruits is accessible to everyone, everywhere. RELL Seas understood this lesson and built their game from the ground up to work flawlessly across every single platform from day one. PC, mobile, console, it doesn't matter what device you own, you can play. And when accessibility barriers disappear, player bases tend to explode. But being available everywhere means nothing if the game runs terribly, which brings me to reason number 5. Listen to this, okay? Having access on every device means nothing if your game runs like garbage on half the platforms. This is where most cross-platform games fail. They work great on PC, then become unplayable on mobile. RELL Seas doesn't just avoid this problem, they've completely eliminated it. The RELL brothers tested their game on an iPhone 7, a device that's nearly 8 years old, and reported perfect smooth performance. If RELL Seas can deliver flawless performance on hardware that old, every modern device is going to run this game like butter. This level of optimization isn't accidental, it's the result of years of careful development and testing. Because while other developers rush to release and fix problems later, RELL Seas has spent years ensuring every player gets the same premium experience. When players don't have to worry about lag or crashes, they focus entirely on enjoying the game. But smooth performance is worthless without engaging gameplay, which brings me to reason number 6. After years of copy and paste bandit beaters, mindless obbies, and repetitive tower defense games, Roblox players are starving for something genuinely different. And RELL Seas isn't just a little different, it's a complete revolution. Instead of forcing players down a single boring progression path, RELL Seas creates a true open world experience where your choices determine your adventure. If you want to become a master chef, you can focus entirely on cooking. If you prefer building, build the ultimate warship as a shipwright. If you love exploration, then there's over 20 islands waiting to be discovered for you when you get into the game. And this freedom separates games that last weeks from games that dominate for years. When players have genuine choice in how they experience your world, they create their own stories and reasons to keep coming back. Most Roblox games become stale after a few days because there's only one thing to do. RELL Seas offers dozens of different paths to master. But individual freedom means nothing without a strong community system. Which brings me to reason number 7, is that the community system in RELL Seas is going to be amazing. Here's something most developers completely misunderstand. The games that dominate platforms for years don't just entertain players, they create lasting connections between them. RELL Seas has built their entire experience around this principle. The crew system isn't just a team feature, it's a system where every player has a crucial role to play. Your crew needs a skilled cook to keep everyone fed during long voyages. Your crew also needs a master navigator to help guide trips to distant islands. And you'll even need a talented shipbuilder to create and upgrade your boat. This creates genuine collaboration. You're not random people grinding alone in the same server anymore. Now you're a coordinated team where everyone's contribution matters. When players feel valued and needed by their crew, they develop loyalty that keeps them coming back to the game day after day after day. The games that have lasted years on Roblox all have strong community features that make players feel connected to something bigger than themselves. But community means nothing if the game looks cheap. Which brings me to reason number 8. First impressions on Roblox happen in seconds. If your game looks cheap or cluttered, players leave before they understand what you're offering. RELL Seas has invested heavily in creating visuals that immediately scream out quality and professionalism. I've watched terrible games spike in popularity purely because they looked good. Even Blox Fruit's recent success comes largely from visual upgrades rather than new game mechanics. The RELL brothers have completely reworked their graphics and user interface system like 5 separate times during development, each time raising the quality level higher and higher. And this isn't just about making things pretty, it's about creating an immediate emotional connection to the player. And when a player loads into RELL Seas, they instantly know they're experiencing something special that most Roblox games could never offer. But at the end of the day, pretty visuals are meaningless without an addictive progression system, which is what brings me to number 9. The difference between games that get played once and games that become addictive lies in one critical area: progression systems that make players feel like they absolutely must continue playing. RELL Seas has engineered their progression to be psychologically irresistible. Look at simple games like Grow a Garden pulling 8 million players. It's not because that game is good, it's because the progression loop is perfectly designed to keep players hungry for more. And RELL Seas applies that same psychological engineering across their skill trees. Master cooking, then you'll want to master navigation. Master navigation, then combat becomes your next obsession. There's always something else to do and always another mountain to climb. But here is the genius part. The character build system allows multiple character slots, so players will create alternate builds trying to perfect their characters. This is the same addictive loop that keeps people grinding games like NBA 2K for hundreds of hours. The pursuit of the perfect build never ends. But even perfect progression systems fail without consistent updates. So that brings me to reason number 10. Here's where 99% of Roblox games completely fail their communities. They release with a burst of content, then disappear for months, leaving players with nothing new to discover or do. RELL Seas has made a public commitment to frequently update their game. Even if a player somehow completes everything at the launch of RELL Seas, max every skill, explore every island, and build the ultimate ship or whatever, there will always be another update around the corner bringing fresh content. Every major update becomes an event that pulls players back to desperately experience new features, complete new quests, and acquire all the new items. This constant flow of content is what separates games that last for months from games that end up dominating the platform for years. Players need a reason to return, and regular updates provide exactly that motivation. It's the difference between a game that burns bright and dies quickly and a game that becomes a permanent hobby in players' lives. But the next thing I want to talk about is something that ruins almost every game on Roblox, no matter how good it may seem. In an era where most Roblox games have become pay-to-win nightmares, RELL Seas stands as a beacon of fair competition. There are no game passes that instantly make you powerful, no premium currencies that let you skip the grind. Every player, regardless of how much money they spend, must earn their strength through skill and dedication. When you lose a fight in RELL Seas, it's because your opponent outplayed you or invested more time improving, not because they bought their way to victory. This creates a completely different environment than games like Bloxfruits, where you can just go and buy the best items and dominate all of your friends. Your reputation in this game is now built on genuine skill rather than your wallet size. But moving on to reason number 12 is another reason why I know RELL Seas will dominate Roblox. The secret to massive lasting success on Roblox isn't appealing to one specific audience, it's creating experiences that satisfy completely different types of people within the same game. RELL Seas has mastered this approach. For players who live for intense PvP combat, there's navy battles, crew wars, and skill-based combat systems that will make them engaged for hours. But for players who prefer peaceful, relaxing gameplay, there's fishing, cooking, exploring beautiful islands, and building all these beautiful ships. The calm experiences are just as detailed and rewarding as the intense combat. This broad appeal means RELL Seas can attract millions of players across every demographic. If you're a hardcore gamer, you could be interested. If you're a casual player, you could also be interested. Everyone finds something designed for their preference. And when a game can satisfy every type of player simultaneously, it has the potential to become one of the biggest experiences on that platform. But consistent satisfaction also requires a little something else, which brings me to reason number 13. One of the RELL brothers' greatest strengths has always been their ability to create special events that make their community feel truly engaged. These aren't just small updates, they're major celebrations that become highlights of players' gaming experiences. Every major holiday becomes an opportunity for limited time content, special quests, exclusive items, and unique experiences that can't be found any other time of year. Limited time content creates urgency and excitement that regular updates simply cannot match. When players know something special is only available for a few weeks, they prioritize that experience above everything else. These events also create positive emotional connections within the game. Players don't just remember RELL Seas as that pirate game, they remember incredible experiences during special moments throughout the year. But moving on to reason number 14 why I know this game is going to take over, which is actually one of my favorite ones, it's because RELL Seas is going to have a world that feels truly alive. And let me explain what that really means. Most Roblox games create worlds that feel empty and lifeless. A few basic buildings that are scattered around a generic terrain with minimal attention to detail. But RELL Seas has invested in creating a world that feels alive, diverse, and constantly surprising. There's going to be over 20 unique islands and biomes awaiting for players to explore, each with a distinct architecture for, the buildings and stuff like that. The NPCs are going to be different, wildlife on those islands are all going to be different, and each one is going to have their own different types of temperatures. So that means if you're walking around playing RELL Seas with your crew and y'all have been in like a tropical forest for a long time and you're getting really tired of it, then you can just go and sail to a desert island. If you want something completely different, you can then head to a frozen wasteland. This level of world building makes traveling feel like a genuine adventure with your friends. Every location tells a story, every island has secrets to discover, and every single trip becomes an opportunity for unexpected encounters. But a living world needs professional audio to complete that experience, which brings me to reason number 15. While most Roblox games recycle the same 3 sound effects until players mute their audio entirely, RELL Seas has invested in creating a completely custom audio experience that rivals professional game studios. Every location has its own unique soundtrack that perfectly matches that atmosphere. If you're sailing across open waters, it'll trigger an epic theme song that makes you feel like a true adventurer. If you're in a boss battle, it'll feature dramatic music that elevates the moment into a cinematic type of feeling. Even the sound effects are custom designed rather than using generic Roblox audio that every player has heard thousands of times. The clashings of swords, the sound of waves, the creaking of ships, everything is crafted specifically for this world. This level of audio design makes the game feel like a professional production rather than a typical Roblox project. But this next reason I'm going to talk about is probably one of the biggest reasons why I know RELL Seas is going to take over Roblox, so just hear me out. For years, anime game fans on Roblox have been settling for mediocre experiences because there simply wasn't anything better available. Games like Blox Fruits dominated not because they were, truly amazing or anything, but because they were the best option available. Millions of players have been desperately waiting for a high-quality anime-inspired game that actually lives up to their expectations. They've grown tired of the same repetitive mechanics, boring progression systems, and lack of real depth that plague most anime games on the platform. RELL Seas arrives at that perfect moment to satisfy this hunger that's been building for years. As players mature and realize how limited their current options really are, they're actively searching for something better. When RELL Seas becomes the first game to properly satisfy anime game fans, success isn't just likely, it's practically guaranteed. And for this next reason, I know a lot of you are going to be super excited to see it. This might seem like a minor detail, but the comfort of your controls can make or break a player's entire experience. Most developers ignore this critical aspect, assuming default controls work for everyone. RELL Seas recognizes that every player has different preferences, devices, and comfort levels with various control layouts. Their customization system allows complete personalization of keybinds and mobile display settings. PC and console players can optimize every button for maximum efficiency. Mobile players can arrange their screen to avoid accidental taps and improve visibility, and when players can make the game feel exactly how they want it to feel, they're dramatically more likely to stick with it long term. These details is what separates professional games from amateur projects, but perfect controls are still worthless if first impressions fail, which is what brings me to reason number 18. On Roblox, you have approximately 30 seconds to hook a new player before they leave the game forever. Most games completely waste this critical window with boring tutorials or slow starts that fail to demonstrate what makes the experience special. RELL Seas, on the other hand, has perfected the art of immediate engagement. New players are greeted with an animated cutscene that instantly showcases the world design and quality of the game. The tutorial system teaches essential mechanics through engaging scenarios rather than boring instruction lists. Players learn by doing exciting things like fighting bosses and completing parkour challenges. This approach ensures that everyone who clicks on the game becomes genuinely interested in continuing rather than leaving after a few minutes of confusion. But great first impressions mean nothing if the game breaks constantly. Which brings me to reason number 19. Many games on Roblox don't die because they're bad. They die because they launch with game-breaking bugs that destroyed players' fun before fixes could be implemented. Most developers rush to release as quickly as possible, then spend months fixing problems that should have been resolved before the launch of the game. Players lose patience, leave negative reviews, and never return, even after issues are resolved. So RELL Seas has taken the opposite approach, and they've been extensively testing every system, every interaction, and every possible scenario to ensure a smooth launching experience for the game. Rather than rushing to meet a random deadline, they're taking whatever time is necessary to deliver a polished final product for players. And when people can actually enjoy the game without constant crashes or glitches, they develop trust in the developers and enjoy the experience 10 times more. But even bug-free games can be ruined by one final thing, which brings me to reason number 20 why I know RELL Seas will take over this platform. Nothing kills a competitive game faster than widespread cheating that makes legitimate players feel like they're wasting their time. Unfortunately, most Roblox games launch with minimal anti-cheat protection, allowing exploiters to ruin the experience for everyone. RELL Seas has invested significant development time in creating amazing anti-cheat systems that will stop virtually all attempts at exploitation. When players know they're competing on a level playing field without cheaters, they're willing to invest serious time and effort into improving their skills rather than getting frustrated and quitting. This commitment to anti-cheat protection shows a level of professionalism that no other Roblox anime experience really demonstrates. It's the final piece that transforms a good game into a legendary one. And so looking at all these 20 reasons, it proves to us that the RELL brothers have learned from every mistake and success before them on the Roblox platform. They've studied what works, what fails, and what players actually want. When RELL Seas launches, it won't just take over Roblox, it will become one of the best gaming experiences you've ever had. So, to stay caught up on everything RELL Seas, subscribe and watch this next if you would like to see some RELL Seas sneak peeks.